A few days ago, the New York Times carried a telling report. Across the Middle East, ordinary people were exhausted. Decades of war have left them yearning not for victory, but for peace. That sentiment feels only natural today. Since the Hamas terror attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, the region has once again been engulfed in bloodshed and violence. For the man on the street, enough is enough. But this cycle did not begin in 2023. The Middle East has been trapped in conflict since the 1950s, following the Second World War and the creation of the State of Israel. Syria, Yemen, the Iran-Iraq War, and the rise of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, together these conflicts have defined life in the region for nearly 4 generations. And there is little sign of this ending soon. Even after being severely battered by Israel, Hamas in Gaza shows no willingness to lay down its arms. This has openly angered US President Donald Trump, who has threatened direct use of force, meaning the possibility of American troops joining Israeli forces against the Hamas. Until now, the US had backed the Israel politically and militarily, but has avoided direct intervention in Gaza. This is GlobalHeadwinds.com, and this week we examine a difficult question. Why has the Middle East, and especially the Palestinians, remained trapped in endless suffering? There is no denying a fundamental truth. Palestinian suffering began with the creation of Israel and the wars that followed. In a tragic irony, the historic suffering of stateless Jews was in many ways transferred to the Palestinians, making them stateless in turn. But that is not the whole story. Here at GlobalHeadwinds.com, we also examine how Palestinian leadership time and again made choices that worsened their own fate. The first such moment was the Black September. In the Six-Day War of 1967, Jordan sided with Egypt and was decisively defeated by Israel. The loss cost Jordan the West Bank and East Jerusalem and created nearly 300,000 Palestinian refugees, many of whom poured into Amman and Jordanian cities. Arab nations, Jordan, Egypt, and Syria showed genuine sympathy. King Hussein of Jordan opened his country to the displaced Palestinians, but the gratitude was short-lived. By September 1970, Palestinian Fedayeen operating from refugee camps and backed quietly by Iraq and Syria plotted to overthrow King Hussein, the very man who had given them refuge. It was a profound betrayal. Jordan's army, still weakened from the 1967 defeat, turned to Pakistani military officers to rebuild. Among them was a little-known brigadier named Ziaul Haq. As daily clashes erupted and assassination attempts on the king intensified, Zia was handed a brutal task: restore order. What followed was devastating. Between September 16 and 26, Zia led a ruthless military campaign into Palestinian refugee areas in Amman. In just 11 days, nearly 4,000 Palestinian fighters, 600 Syrian soldiers, and more than 25,000 innocent Palestinian civilians, women and children, and even infants, were killed. So intense was the massacre that fewer Palestinians had died in the Israeli hands in the previous 20 years combined. Ziaul Haq later would become the Pakistan's military dictator. This was the first moment when Palestinian leadership catastrophically undermined its own people. The second came in 1993. The Arafat-led peace talks resulted in the creation of the Palestinian National Authority, an interim self-government for Gaza and the West Bank. Hope briefly flickered, but corruption soon hollowed it out. Aid money from the UN and international donors were siphoned off. Governance collapsed. Public anger grew. From that disillusionment emerged the violent Hamas. Once again, an opportunity slipped away. And then came October 7th. The Hamas attack triggered brutal Israeli reprisals, leaving nearly 70,000 Gaza residents killed, pushing the enclave to the edge of annihilation. The world watches, the world mourns, the world weeps for the Palestinians. But at globalheadwinds.com, we ask a question many avoid. Who is truly responsible for this endless tragedy?